There are people who, the moment they enter a room, shift the energy in a way that bends the rules of time. Their presence alone disrupts the logic of aging. It doesn't matter what their ID says or how many birthdays they've had, their energy tells a different story. It's not just about smooth skin or the absence of wrinkles. It's not just the way their body moves or how their eyes shine. It's something much deeper, something that can't be touched or easily defined. It's an inner lightness, a subtle frequency they radiate, a soul that hasn't been worn down by the years, but rather refined by the wisdom they've gained through them. And you can feel it. You can see it. It becomes undeniable. People might raise an eyebrow and ask, "Wait, that's your age? Are you serious?" And they mean it. It's not just a compliment. It's genuine confusion, because something about you breaks the expectations people have about what aging looks like. But deep down, you know the truth. It's not about genetics. It's not about strict diets or elaborate skincare routines. There's something else at play, something that no mirror can fully reflect. It's about inner coherence, a spiritual alignment. It's a way of being that nurtures you from the inside out, a life lived from the soul outward, rather than from appearances inward. Carl Jung once spoke of the path to individuation, the journey toward becoming whole. It's not a journey for the faint of heart. It's a process that strips away masks, confronts inner wounds, and eventually brings us face to face with our truest, most unfiltered selves. That kind of living purifies the soul. It detoxifies your very essence. And as strange as it may sound, that process has a physical effect. Because when people age rapidly, it's often not just biology, it's disconnection. Disconnection from who they are, from what they feel, from the life they wish they were living. They start to conform, to please others, to chase expectations, to fit into molds they never chose. And in doing so, they abandon parts of themselves. But those who appear ageless, who carry that unmistakable spark, they've made a different choice. They've chosen to remain loyal to their essence. They've chosen inner truth over outer approval. And that choice leaves a mark, not just on their spirit, but on their body. When you live in harmony with yourself, when you stop dragging the past behind you, when you stop resisting the present moment, your biology responds. Your face softens. Your eyes brighten. Your energy becomes lighter. Your mind no longer clings to bitterness, and your soul begins to heal and regenerate in ways no cream or workout ever could. Many believe that what ages us is simply the passage of time. But really, it's the weight of time that does the damage. It's the unspoken griefs, the silent regrets, the emotional baggage we carry year after year. It's the roles we force ourselves into, the masks we wear for so long that we forget what our true face looks like. It's the soul that forgets how to play, how to laugh freely, how to love without keeping score. Jung once said, "We do not grow old from the passing of years, but by deserting our soul." And he was right. The soul doesn't age. The soul doesn't wrinkle. The soul doesn't grow tired. And when you live from that place, from your soul, you can be 50, 60, 70 or more, and still radiate the same vitality you had in your 20s. It's a different kind of youth, one that others can sense, even if they can't quite explain it. It's a magnetic force, a silent glow, a quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself. You walk into a room, and people feel it. They may not understand what it is, but they know it's rare. They know it's real. This kind of youth isn't visible in the mirror. It's not something a camera can capture. It's not something you can post about. It's a vibration, a presence, a way of meeting life with awe, even after you've been broken, even after the betrayals, the losses, the sleepless nights, especially after those things. Because true vitality comes not from having lived an easy life, but from having walked through darkness and still chosen light. It's not naivety, it's wisdom. It's having learned that life doesn't take your youth, it returns it, if you know how to live from your soul. So, no, this energy cannot be bottled or sold. It's not the result of luxury treatments or magical secrets. It's a way of living that keeps your spirit young, by staying curious, by being honest, by laughing deeply, by loving bravely. It's waking up every day and deciding to stay connected to the most authentic part of yourself, even when the world tries to pull you away from it. That is the real fountain of youth. Not a place, not a potion, but a practice, a choice to honor your soul every day. And when you do, something miraculous happens. Your years may continue to pass, but they will no longer define you. Because while the body may follow time's path, the soul always dances outside of it. Carl Jung once said that one of the greatest challenges for a human being is to make peace with their shadow. And it seems that those who look younger than their age have, in some quiet and unspoken way, done this deep inner work. They've descended into the depths of their own story. They've mourned the losses others chose to bury. They've healed wounds that previous generations didn't have the words to name. And from that courageous descent, they've emerged, lighter, more awake, more alive. True youth doesn't lie in denying the passage of time, but in the depth with which you walk through it. The people who fear aging the most are often those who wear the stress of that fear on their skin. But those who embrace each passing year with awareness and acceptance carry a glow, a light that doesn't dim with age, it becomes more luminous. Have you ever noticed how some older individuals seem wiser, gentler, more open, even more playful than people decades younger? That's not a coincidence. It's the natural result of surrendering to life instead of resisting it, of learning to live each stage fully, without clinging, without regret, without the pressure to be anything other than what they are. That kind of presence becomes a beauty that no makeup can create. It becomes a youth that no workout can manufacture. It's not something you train for, it's something you inhabit. The people who appear younger are often those who have forgiven deeply, who have released what they couldn't carry anymore, who have made the conscious choice not to grow bitter. They've cultivated the rare gift of seeing wonder where others only see repetition. And that simple shift in perspective transforms the body, lifts the spirit, and softens every step they take. Spiritual youth is a state of the soul, and the soul, when at peace, renews everything it touches. There's a subtle yet profound difference between being youthful and trying to look youthful. In one case, youth is a natural expression that flows outward. In the other, it's a mask, a costume, a performance. And the difference lies not in the body, but in the spirit. In many cultures obsessed with outward appearance, youth has been turned into a product, something to be bought, preserved, or performed. But real youth has nothing to do with creams or surgeries or filters. It's not about what you hide, but what you're brave enough to reveal. People who radiate youth from the inside aren't pretending. They're not trying to appear as anything other than what they are. What you see is the result of years spent in reflection, in stillness, in honest connection with what truly matters. Their glow is not artificial, it's earned. When you stop living from pressure and start living from love, everything in you shifts. When you no longer need to prove yourself, your body knows, your cells know, and others feel it. Jung might say that when you reconcile with your unconscious, the soul takes over. And when the soul is in the lead, there's no room for rigidity, for bitterness, for self-deception. Gives way to movement, the grace, and the life. People who seem younger aren't necessarily the ones who've had easy lives. In fact, it's often quite the opposite. They've endured deep sorrows, but instead of letting that pain harden them, they've used it to soften themselves. They've turned their wounds into wisdom, their burdens into bridges. That kind of inner softness, that compassion carefully nurtured, gives off a radiance that can't be faked. It's not about genetics, it's about awareness. It's not the body that rejuvenates the soul, it's the soul that rejuvenates the body. The most powerful kind of youth is not the one that looks back at you in the mirror. It's the one you feel when you wake up. It's the quiet sense that you are exactly where you need to be, that your emotions are clear, that your conscience is calm. That peace, the kind that can't be bought or bargained with, is the true mark of inner youth. We live in a world obsessed with halting time, with erasing its traces, with pretending to be what we no longer are. But the true transformation doesn't come from stopping time. It comes from transcending it. And that power belongs to the soul that has learned to look at its own shadow with kindness, the soul that no longer punishes itself for what didn't happen, the soul that has released inherited guilt, senseless expectations, repeated patterns. That kind of soul is beautiful, not for what it shows, but for what it emits. And many times, the people who seem the youngest are those who've shed the most weight, who've decided that wearing masks isn't worth it, who've realized that real beauty doesn't come from looking a certain way, it comes from being. When you're truly connected to your soul, you no longer feel the need to hide your age, because you understand that your value doesn't decline with the years, it deepens. It becomes more precise, more profound. Jung spoke of the soul as a whole that seeks to integrate all its parts. And when that integration happens, it shows. You can see it in someone's posture, in the tone of their voice, in the way they look at others without judgment, with softness, with presence. That is the youth the world forgets to talk about, the one that can't be bottled, branded, or sold. The youth that belongs to those who've made peace with who they are. And that kind of youth lasts. Spiritual youth has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with presence, with compassion, with the freedom you carry within you. And that kind of youth, it never grows old. We all have a mirror in our homes, one that shows us our face, our skin, our hair. But there's another mirror, far more powerful, that we almost never look into. The mirror of the soul. That mirror doesn't reflect your appearance. It reflects what you carry inside. It doesn't reveal wrinkles. It reveals wounds. Some open, some healed. It doesn't tell you how you look. It tells you how you are. Whether you're truly living or merely surviving. Whether you're flowing with life or resisting it. And when someone appears young, when their face glows, their eyes shine, their energy feels light, even if the calendar tells a different story. Often, it's because their inner mirror is clean. It isn't fogged by resentment. It isn't cracked by guilt. It has been lovingly polished over time, with forgiveness, with self-respect, with truth. To look younger is not always a superficial compliment. Sometimes, it's a sacred sign, a quiet revelation that you're in alignment with your true self, that you've stopped living out of obligation and started living from authenticity, and you can feel it, even if others can't quite explain it, even if they can't find the words. Some people unknowingly express their healing through their face, their body, their presence. They carry lightness, not because life has been easy, but because they've chosen to stay open, even through the pain. These are the people who bring peace into a room without saying a single word, who look at you with a kindness that holds no judgment, who seem to glow with something different. It's not youth, it's presence. Carl Jung spoke of the self, not the mask we wear, not the roles we perform, but the deep center of our being, the integrative core of the psyche. And he said, we access it not by pretending, not by escaping who we are, but by turning inward, by becoming honest with ourselves. When we get closer to that core, something within us shifts. We don't just feel younger, we remember who we really are. The soul, when listened to, beautifies everything it touches: your voice, your energy, your body, your way of walking through the world. People who seem younger than their age are often those who truly listen to themselves, who take care of their inner world, not out of fear, but out of love, who don't abandon themselves when life falls apart, who don't become hardened when things hurt, who, instead of shutting down, open wider because they've learned something profound. They've learned that real aging doesn't happen in the body. It happens in the spirit. And when the spirit is awake, it doesn't matter how many years pass, your light stays alive. That light, when it flows freely, even rejuvenates those around you. It's as if your soul, by shining, reminds others that they have a soul too, that they've simply forgotten. And that is a gift. So if you've ever wondered why you seem younger than others your age, maybe the answer isn't in your skincare routine, or your diet, or your DNA. Maybe the answer lies in your story, in how you lived it, in how you healed it, in how you refused to become bitter. Maybe without realizing it, you became someone who inspires, someone who reflects what so many have forgotten, that the soul does not age, that true beauty is a state of being, and that time can only take from you what you willingly surrender. But if you hold on to yourself, your truth, your presence, your light, then time becomes your ally, not your enemy. And you, just by being, become a living memory of something sacred. That real youth begins within and never truly fades. There's a quiet secret carried by those who seem to glow with youth, even as the years pass. It's not something found in creams or routines, nor in the desperate chase for time. No, it's something deeper, more profound. These people have learned the art of release. They no longer carry the burden of needing to please everyone, nor do they bend under the weight of others' expectations. They have stopped dragging along the guilt handed down through generations. At some point, they looked inward, really looked, and made a conscious decision to let go of everything that was never truly theirs to hold. Because growing old, in its truest sense, is not just a biological process. It's an emotional act. It's what happens when we let fear pile up like unspoken words in a room we refuse to enter. It's what happens when we treat resentment like a collection of trophies, polished and preserved, rather than healed and released. Aging happens when we refuse to change, to feel, to soften. When we close ourselves off to life's flow, its mystery, its movement. But those who appear younger, who seem to carry light in their eyes and ease in their step, have chosen a different way of living. They have chosen lightness, not because life has been gentle with them, but because they have mastered the quiet strength of not carrying what weighs down the soul. They have learned sometimes painfully, sometimes slowly, how to let go of what does not help them grow. And that choice, often invisible to the eye, but unmistakable to the heart, becomes a kind of inner alchemy. It softens their energy, lightens their presence, brightens their aura. Carl Jung once said that no one becomes enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And when a person dares to face their shadows, not with judgment or fear, but with compassion, something changes inside. The energy shifts. The heart becomes less guarded. There's a new kind of softness, a deeper kind of brilliance. It's as if every shadow embraced becomes a window, polished clean, reflecting a more honest soul. And this transformation doesn't go unnoticed. You can see it in the face, in the way someone moves, in the calmness of their gaze. There are people who carry a light that doesn't flicker, a presence that doesn't fade, a kind of beauty that can't be explained by symmetry or age. These people are not performing. They are simply living from a place of truth. And truth does not wrinkle. Truth does not age. Perhaps this is what real spirituality looks like, not the kind that seeks to ascend above life, to escape or transcend, but the kind that dives into the very heart of experience and reshapes it from within. This is the spirituality that forgives the past, that smiles at the scars which no longer sting, the one that chooses over and over again to live with awareness, with softness, with care. That kind of presence doesn't demand attention. It doesn't have to. When someone walks into a room with that kind of alignment, everyone feels it, even if they can't quite name it. It's the kind of youth that doesn't shout, because it already knows how to listen. And then suddenly, you realize, looking young isn't an accident, or a lucky genetic lottery, or some divine favor. It's the outward reflection of an internal alignment. It's the echo of having said no to resentment, to rigidity, to judgment, to guilt, to the fear of being fully, unapologetically yourself, and having said yes to the things that bring life to your spirit. Emotional freedom, forgiveness, authenticity, kindness, curiosity, laughter, and the kind of silence that doesn't feel empty, but full, like a warm embrace from the universe itself. So if someone looks at you and says, "You don't look your age," don't just take it as a compliment about your skin or your appearance. Hear it as something deeper, a sign, a reminder that you're on the right path, that your soul is speaking honestly, that when the soul expresses itself with integrity, it can even transform the body. And if you're not there yet, if you still carry the weight of old wounds or fears, know this: it's okay. There's no expiration date on healing. It's never too late to begin again, to soften the hardness inside, to return home to yourself, to reconnect with the soul. Because in the end, true youth isn't something we lose, it's something we forget. But the moment we remember who we are beneath the noise, beneath the masks, beneath the stories we were told to believe, youth comes rushing back, not as a number, but as a state of being, a quiet radiance, a gentle power, a living truth. Sometimes it's not about how many years you've lived, but how much you've healed, how much you've let go, and how much light you carry within. The youth you see on the outside is often a reflection of the spiritual work within. Thank you for reading this far. If this video touched your soul, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and join me on future journeys towards self-knowledge. Leave me a comment. Has anyone ever told you that you look younger? Do you think your soul also vibrates with that energy? I'd love to hear from you. And if you know someone who radiates that spiritual youth, Share this video with them. Sometimes a small message can be a great mirror. See you soon. And remember, true beauty is that which never fades, that which is born from within.